Right, another party. Other than that, however, how are you doing, man? Like, how good is it? I'm fine. I can't be upset. I'm fine, as you know. Health is always wealth, as you know. I'm fighting all of the low vibration individuals who are attempting to not downplay the situation. However, I and my family, indeed my entire family, are rising to the occasion. If you will, we are rising above everything else, and I hope to resolve a few issues today with you in my new hometown. I often travel from New York City, Brooklyn, born and raised. Therefore, you are suggesting that it was more of a purchasing situation rather than a renting one. The scenario was supposed to be one of purchase. We're now kind of fighting as a result of her absolute condition and the people who were advising her. It appears like somebody was attempting to make use. She wins in the end. Wendy Williams, a well-known radio and talk show host, will no longer be required to pay alimony to her cheating ex-husband Kevin Hunter, in court records that can only be accessed by U.S. citizens. Son, Hunter's request that the former talk show host continue making her monthly payments, which totaled $250,000, was denied by a judge in New Jersey, as numerous sources have previously stated. After the Alimony check stopped, Hunter's claim was about his inability to pay his bills on time. Hunter says that the check stopped in February 2022 because the host reportedly had a few health problems. But now that the judge has ended this mess, how will the shameful serial cheater survive with his settled baby mama next door? Let's learn more. Kevin Hunter is unquestionably the person who has embarrassed and disgraced men. The former producer of The Wendy Williams Show has been muttering about how broke he is and how he can't live without Wendy, the same woman he left behind when she needed him the most. He has been everywhere. However, karma is always bad, isn't it? The majority of my bills have fallen behind. I am currently behind on a bill because I live in a community that requires payments to homeowners associations. The U.S. obtained a written file. Son, the 50-year-old stated that his ex-wife's pause payments have had a significant impact on his life, and that he is also behind on his credit card and auto insurance payments. He wrote, "It is extremely evident to me that I am unable to sustain my life and pay my bills in a timely manner." When the judge decided to completely disregard Hunter's crisis, it appears that he had a different perspective. Wendy's victory was celebrated by many fans, who suggested that Hunter consider applying for jobs rather than relying on his ex-wife's income. You wronged this woman in front of the entire world. After announcing the divorce, she experienced severe health problems. Sam, go find work. It suggests an issue that is not Wendy's. #employment. Even though this outcome helps Wendy's finances, Hunter may still take his case to mediation, where a mediator will be instructed to expedite a fair settlement between the parties. The United States claims Son, Wendy, and Hunter were required to participate in binding arbitration, also known as a dispute resolution process, by the judge. In 2019, Wendy and her husband of 21 years filed for divorce amid allegations of cheating and abuse. In the end, additional reports showed that Hunter had a child outside of his marriage to Wendy, Sharina Hudson, his alleged long-term mistress. After claiming that he is unable to pay his bills, Kevin Hunter, Wendy Williams' ex-husband, is requesting that the courts direct Williams' guardian to resume receiving alimony. You see, he's struggling. After being placed in financial guardianship at the beginning of this year, he asserts that he is in danger of foreclosure. Kevin wrote in his court filings that I have fallen behind on the majority of my bills. I'm behind on a bill for the homeowners association because I live in a community that requires payments. We will follow up shortly if the homeowners association fees are not paid prior to foreclosure. True to a T. I've only experienced that once. The 58-year-old discussed her hesitation to discuss her split during a Hot Topic segment on her critically acclaimed daytime talk show, The Wendy Williams Show. She stated at the time that everyone has things in their lives that they are not ready to share with the world. Together, Wendy and Hunter have a 22-year-old son. Junior Kevin Hunter, the Sun reports that the judge decided Hunter's request for alimony was not urgent and dismissed it without prejudice. The judge also decided that Wendy would not be responsible for Hunter's legal costs. In a nutshell, the situation is over, and our guy is completely dependent on money. Talk about leaping into the fire straight out of the pan. This issue was brought up by Hunter in November. He said in the motion that the payments stopped suddenly in February 2022. Around that same time, Wendy's Wells Fargo account was frozen because it was thought she was being exploited financially, had dementia, or was under too much influence. Her 22-year-old son was reportedly evicted from his $2 million Miami apartment after failing to pay $70,000 in rent, according to recent reports. Here is everything we know about that situation. Wendy's frozen bank account appears to have had an impact on more than just her ex-husband. According to our sources, Wendy's son, Kevin Hunter Jr., was reportedly evicted from his luxury apartment and sued for $70,000 in unpaid rent during this same bank freeze. When Hunter Jr. received the official eviction summons in August of last year, he responded by stating that his mother intended to purchase the apartment at the lease's end by paying a full year's rent up front, beginning in March 2021. The 22-year-old claims that she asked him to sign the lease on her behalf. The 22-year-old claims that she asked him to sign the lease on her behalf. After that, Hunter talked about how his mother's health problems made it hard for him to pay her rent. As the lease came to an end, he stated that my mother's health issues placed the court in charge of her finances. All of this happened suddenly, and she stopped providing me with all of the financial support I had always received, including housing. Our sources informed us that Wendy claimed in a letter to the court in February 2022 that her bank, Wells Fargo, had denied her access to her financial accounts, assets, and statements, whether online or otherwise. The action was based, according to her filings, on the opinion of Wendy's former financial advisor, Lori Schiller, who advised that the radio personality was unsound. The bank claimed in its court filings that it froze the funds because Wells Fargo has strong evidence that Williams is the victim of financial exploitation and undue influence. It didn't say who was exploiting Wendy or having an unfair influence on her, but it seems like they saved her from the gold-digging Hunter SR, who set out to reap rewards where he had none. So Hunter Jr. said, "I'll have to pause my education for a full academic year because of COVID and to care for my mom, even though my name is on the lease my mom was paying," while explaining his father's inability to pay his bills and exposing him as irresponsible. She has also been unable to pay rent for the past month due to medical and legal issues since the one-year lease ended. Additionally, for the past few months, the court has been in charge of her finances. While her father is in a covert relationship, Hunter said he has been traveling between states to check on her mother's health. He concludes the August 29 statement by stating that he has secured a different temporary residence and plans to leave the apartment within 7 days. Hunter Sr. will either find employment